tech deck, wet fingers, sex with singers, totally jet set the zinger.
Pesky clinger next to linger in lingerie made by Ann Taylor. Handstand a standard Camaro with Santana.
Banana peel slipping, I feel women in menopause.
Handle these sickens, I'm Glock clicking with cheddar ball.
Trampoline dick and I'm real sick and I'm better off.
Kennedy tripping, I wanna become a senator.
Off stance in transit, titties out, booties up. Trying to find a way to see that everybody poops enough.
Who the fuck been moving up on Julia with Rufio? And I will take it to all of you with bayonets and Uzi guns. What?
Something was touching me, hoping someone that wanna suck me under the fucking sea. What?
Sucking it fucking D. Do you wanna do it? She said, bumblebee.
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 Rolling like a tumbleweed.
Tummy bee.
Tumbling.
I think that I'm hungry.
Grilled cheese.
Honey bee.
Tell your mama what it be.
I just wanna take this time to say what's up to Scummy T.
Suffering.
Succotash.
Kick you in a fucking ass.
Buffering.
Suck a dick. Terrible connection.
Dial up.
Pile on.
Entering the fire zone.
Call me on a xylophone.
Put a brand new style on.
Pimp it out. This is it. Pimp it out. This is it. This is it. Pimp it out. This is it. Pimp it out.
Welcome back to the Weed Cap.
Welcome.
I'm your host, Caleb. With me, as always, is Lauren. If I sound a little coarse this morning, I don't know why. I'm hearing myself.
He took an edible at 7:30 last night.
Hearing myself in the headphones, and I don't sound like myself. I definitely had. I did a rookie mistake last night. I played a little game called Take an Edible right before bed and then wake up at 2 a.m. and think you're dying.
Yep.
That's it.
It's a fun game to play. I don't know if you guys have ever played it. I personally never felt that way.
I play it quite a bit. A lot of times that's how I take edibles. I'll do them right before bed. And then I wake up at, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. My heart's beating out of my chest. And now I got to just read on my phone. So I'm still dipping my toes into the pool of today. I woke up not long ago and had a little panic attack because we saw how close we were to episode time.
Yeah, I said, bro, you got to get up.
Yeah. I was in my REMs. Lauren disturbed my REM sleep this morning.
He's gonna have a migraine later. So.
I'm mainlining Celsius. I've got some nicotine. Everything's gonna be fine. And we last night watched the winner of the listener selection.
Yeah, shout out to whoever the fuck recommended this one.
I'll tell you who recommended it. Actually, I won't tell you who recommended it, but I will remind them that they owe me $65. That's just gonna.
Oh,
it's gonna remind the person who, Cash App, Zelle.
You have his information.
I've got everything ready to go on my end. So, guys, we're going to take a trip back in time, okay, to December 17th, 2002.
That's when this movie came out?
That's when this movie came out, December 17th, 2002. The towers had just fallen.
Oof. It was a hard time for the country.
Towers had just fallen, and we are a nation looking to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't think of a better way to heal than to watch this movie because it's full of people who need healing.
Oh, my, yeah. A lot of therapy needed in this movie.
Well, I was speaking of like maybe a witch doctor, some sort of mysticist, cast a spell. And
witch.
A witch, yeah, a witch.
Witches are real. I don't know if you know that.
I know.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you dated one. Sorry.
I didn't date a witch. Her family were witches. It was crazy. So the movie this week is going to be Tiptoes.
And you're probably wondering, what the fuck is that?
What is Tiptoes? Well, it's a journey about healing, and it doesn't have a very happy ending. We're just going to get right to that.
Well,
it doesn't have a happy...
That could be argued,
It doesn't have a happy ending if you're the kid.
Well...
Okay.
I think it's your perspective.
Let's just get into it. So this movie stars an ensemble.
Oh my God. Star-studded cast.
Star-studded. I mean, the stars are all out tonight if you're watching this movie. We've got Gary Oldman, Kate Beckinsale, Patricia Arquette, Matthew McConaughey, and Peter Dinklage, who I've heard is a bit of a motherfucker, to be honest.
Which in this movie, he was a motherfucker, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I've heard that he's a real arrogant little shit.
Oh my God.
I swear to God, dude. Yeah, and I mean, because you don't want to come down too hard on the behavior of a little person. And by the way, we're going to try to be real tasteful here. We had a whole conversation last night while we were watching this.
We do want to do a disclaimer because some parts in this movie are not PC. And I don't know whether it's on purpose or not.
PC. When have we ever cared about PC?
Well, in this situation, we do.
PC stands for Le Petit Cocksucker, which is what Peter Dinklage is. He's a little motherfucker. This is the thing, okay? Peter Dinklage, I've read anecdotal stories of him on Reddit. Also, he was, for some reason, he was involved in the New York comedy scene for a little bit. Like he wasn't. He
was a comedian?
No, he wasn't doing stand up, but he was like showing up to the Comedy Cellar all the time, and he would get like falling down drunk. Like he would probably have like 2 or 3 beers, and he would get falling down drunk. You know, because they can't process it.
Right.
You know?
No, I'm sure they could. It just probably hits them harder than.
If anything, it's
normal
cost effective to be a little person.
Yeah.
I mean,
you probably don't have to eat as much.
Smaller meals.
Yeah. Small.
You go to
takes less to get drunk.
You go to a tapas place and you order tapas. I'm sorry. You go to one of those or a dim sum. You order one plate and you're like, oh my God, I'm stuffed. I've had so much to eat. And they're like, you've had 3 crab meat wontons.
But on the other side, you go to a fucking all-you-can-eat buffet and you're spending $20 a person and they're eating 2 bites. And you're like, come on, get my fucking money's worth.
I would never take a little person to a Chinese buffet.
Why does it have to be Chinese? I said all you can eat.
Well, because...
Have you ever heard of the Shady Maple Smorgasbord?
I have heard of the Shady Maple Smorgasbord, but here's the problem. Is that you'd have to dip your arms under their armpits and walk them down the line. You know what I mean?
Oh, because you're saying it's usually not easily accessible. Well, kids do it.
It's not. Yeah, okay, but here's the thing, okay, is that so much of a buffet, and you're talking to a guy who used to go to the Chinese buffet and clean up. Yeah. They used to go.
We used to get so stoned on my days off, and, well, Caleb was either unemployed or it was his day off, too. We would go to the Chinese
Thanks, Lauren. We'd go to the Chinese buffet.
High as shit.
And so much of the buffet is a visual thing because you don't go into a buffet and go, oh, I know what they have there. I'm going to get this. You have to inspect.
Yeah, because you don't know what the quality is going to be, to be honest.
You go down the line and you go, that looks good. That sounds good, but looks like vomit. That is not edible. That, for some reason, me and Lauren and Parker Brown, shout out downtown Parker Brown. We went to a friend of the show.
Comedian of the year.
Comedian of the year, Magoobies, no big deal. We went to a Chinese buffet, a Japanese buffet with him. It was good.
So good.
But I'm walking down the line and I'm like, what the fuck are those? And then I read it and it's like, it says like pickled chicken feet.
Yeah, they did have chicken feet there.
So you got to keep you can't go into a buffet, you know, without having all of your senses about you. You gotta use your sense of smell. You have to use your sense of vision. You also need to hear. Don't touch, though. You got to hear because sometimes they'll be behind the little counter being like, that's been out there for too long.
That is true. Or like if you can tell that they're just like the shit is sweating while it's sitting there. You don't want that. You don't want that.
You don't want that at all. And here's another thing that these Asian places do. These Chinese buffets, as I like to call them, they're going to try to offer you American food. It's a trap.
Right.
It's a trap. The fried chicken is made out of rubber bands and assholes. Wow. It's all disgusting.
Pizza. They always have pizza and french fries.
It's Chuck E. Cheese pizza. So you can't take a person with dwarfism to a buffet because you'd have to put them on your shoulders.
What if they came with a stool? They're prepared.
Yeah, but so what? Now they're going to hold up the line, moving the stool, you know, because think about a buffet.
Okay, what kind of line is forming behind you at a buffet? Nobody. If someone is there at a place that you want to be at a buffet, you go to another spot and then you wait for that person to leave and then you go back. Have you never? No, see, you're not comprehending. You're speaking like someone who's never been to Shady Maple because I've never been there.
There's an order to things.
Well, that's different. I'm talking about the Chinese buffets that I've been to.
You're speaking about how they play it fast and loose at the Chinese buffet in Hanover, Pennsylvania, where it's a free for all. It's anybody can do whatever they want. I like it there. You go to some of these more established buffets and there's an order about things. It's understood. There's a way you do things. You go, They funnel you into a line and you go down it.
Oh, but what if you run out of room before you get to the places of the buffet that you want?
Tough titty. You're going to have to
You have
figure
to
it
go
out.
back
Yep.
and go in the same line?
They're going to go circle around and you got to go all the way back through. You can't.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, you're talking about these fucking apocalyptic wastelands of Chinese buffets in southern Pennsylvania. Absolutely not.
Shady Maple is in Pennsylvania too.
And then, well, here's what you could do. You could put the person with dwarfism, as we will refer to them only. If we say the M word.
I think little person is also okay.
Okay. Well, see, that sounds way worse than a person with dwarfism. A little person,
Dwarf.
it's like reducing them. If that's what they want to be called, I'll say it. But it's
I don't know what they want to be called. In this movie, they used the term little person over everything. It was a little person convention.
I know, but I think this film's a little dated.
Oh,
I think
so
maybe
now we're okay.
I think maybe in 2002 it was okay. I don't think little person's the preferred nomenclature. I think it's a dwarf or a person.
We don't want to offend anybody.
No, not at all. And so you could put the person with dwarfism on your shoulders at the buffet and walk down it, and they hold their plate out.
You're wrong.
And you scoop it out and you put it up to their plate.
You need a baby born.
Well,
baby
see,
born.
that's offensive.
No,
I wish
'cause I
you
don't
wouldn't have
think
said
so.
that.
I don't think so. It's consensual. Obviously, you're not putting a person with dwarfism in there and being like, this is how we're going to do it. You ask them, what's the best, what do you think is the best way for you to get about this?
You're going to strap one of these little motherfuckers to your chest
If they want.
like some sort of like a bombing vest.
Oh my God, I just remember that YouTube video that you made me watch.
What YouTube video?
With that weird guy who was jerking people off in a car.
Excuse me?
It was consensual. He had a magic wand in the back and he was in a full-on black morph suit.
Oh, we're speaking about Carix or whatever. It was Andrew Callahan Channel 5 thing about some dude who's a cult leader. You could pay $40 for him to use a Hitachi wand on you during an art show.
And a lot of people did it.
What is a Hitachi wand doing for a man? You're just vibrating things? I mean, I don't understand that.
I'm not a man, so I wouldn't know.
So anyways, back to tiptoes. Okay, now that we've done a thorough deep dive and investigation on how you would take a person with dwarfism.
You would ask them, I think. That's
to a buffet. Consensus. You wouldn't strap them to to your chest like they're a pug or something. So we're going to give you a layout, okay? The Rolf. I'm just trying to be respectful because if we say the M, we're going to
have to quote the movie, and they say the M word in a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's one scene where this one lady is just dropping M words, and I'm saying M like Mary.
Yes. So Gary Oldman plays Rolf. Rolfie.
What the fuck else is he in?
Gary Oldman?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to do a deep. He's I think a very accomplished actor.
I'm going to just look him up real quick while you
go
keep
ahead.
Going.
So Rolfie or Rolfer, they go back and forth throughout the movie.
They call him Rolf, I think.
Yeah, but she calls him Rolfie. The whole movie's fucking confusing, and we'll get into it. Okay, Oldman is you might not know this. He is not a person with dwarfism.
Oh my God, it's that guy from The Fifth Element who bleeds chocolate?
I guess that movie sucks. So Gary Oldman is a full-blown regular-sized man. Okay. In this movie, he plays a dwarf, and you might go, okay, what do they CGI him? No, because it's 2002. What they thought was the best thing to do was have him walk around on his knees with a cane. He's clearly walking on his knees. And they never show the bottom of his...
Or they do, and it's...
Yeah, there's a scene with him on a couch, and
where he's clearly in the couch.
They have put this man in a couch, and he's coming up from the back wedge of the couch, and then he's got puppet legs.
Puppet legs with like the worst shoes.
But think about this. You're coming up out of a couch. You're not going to look like you're sitting and relaxed. And also, the mid part where your torso would bend for your legs to go out.
You'd be able to see.
He is just in...
You can't see him.
Clearly on his knees inside of this couch, and then they have these little... Tiny Tim fucking puppet legs.
I don't mean to laugh, but it's so fake looking.
It looks ridiculous.
Why did they do that?
He's got these Sesame Street ass, Muppet ass legs hanging off the edge of the couch. And this is something, okay, you figure that he's walking around all the time on this. You think his legs would be very muscular.
No.
These are little twig legs.
He looks like Cotton from King of the Hill.
Yes.
That's what you said.
He
He
does-
literally looks and he walks just like Cotton.
Right, because he's got no shins. He's
Right.
walking, and then so they don't show the lower below his knees. They would never show that because he's clearly walking on
From
his
the
knees.
waist up, mostly.
Yes, but then there's one scene where they show his. I guess they couldn't figure out a way to not show him clearly being a full size man, so they have him on his knees and they superimposed. And this is 2002. These 1980s looking holographic shoes onto the bottom of him.
Yeah.
It looks like a scene from Mac and Me or something. Like it's his shoes are twinkling and holographic. It looks like when that motherfucker in Star Wars pops up and he's a hologram.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's clearly Gary Oldman on his knees in jeans. And then they've just put out these little clown shoes
Clown shoes.
of holographic material.
He
And-
also has a hump on him, which for no reason whatsoever. I'm sorry. He
Yeah.
did not have to have a hump. I don't know why they made him hunchback.
Right. They made him look like
They
Quasimodo.
like insinuated that he had some sort of medical condition or something, but then they never spoke about it.
Well, it's called dwarfism.
Okay, yeah. In this movie, they say that dwarfism is a medical condition, which I'm sure that they do have a lot of medical problems being so small. However,
I didn't like what you did there. Keep going. However, what? Finish your point.
they never touch on like what happened to him, and it is asked. Like, I don't want to ruin it, but it is asked about. Like, just they never talk about it.
He's got a big hump on his right
Got a
shoulder.
hump.
So Gary Oldman plays Rolf. Now Maurice is played by Peter Dinklage. Okay. And Peter Dinklage in this movie plays a
Asshole.
drunken, drug addicted French aristocrat little person. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
he's
small
French.
man.
He's French.
The movie opens with Rolf and Maurice, played by Oldman and Dinklage respectively, riding trikes, like a motorcycle trike, not just like, it would have been pretty funny if they were on like a little tykes riding down the.
No, they're both motorcycle lists,
Mm-hmm.
which they have like specialized bikes, I guess.
Yeah, and Peter Dinklage, obviously being a real person with dwarfism, is on a motorcycle, and
You can see his feet.
they just
See
have
everything.
They have wide shots of him, and then they had to hide Gary Oldman.
They gave him some specialized motorcycle that has like sides.
He's in a fucking he's got
Like a
shields.
tank.
He's got shields around him on the front of his thing, so they're riding down the road. And who do they see? They see Lucy, who's played by Patricia Arquette.
Yeah.
She's on the side of the road crying, and she's dressed like some sort of Caribbean hooker. I mean, she's got braided. You know who she
Yeah.
looks like? She looks like the porn star Sarah J.
I would know her.
You would?
I wouldn't.
No, I'll show you. She's got braided hair. She's from like the early 2000s. She's an old.
Maybe that's who they were trying to portray her as.
For any of my old heads out there, she looks exactly like Sarah J. So they stop. The guy, Rolf, played by Gary Oldman, obviously, is like, let's keep going. And Peter Dinklage goes, because he's French, he's like, keep going, I'll catch up with you. And then he picks her up. He picks her up. So, number one, I don't know if I'm stranded in the middle of the road. I don't know if I'm getting on a trike with because also the shot of her on the back of the motorcycle is so funny.
She's so large.
Yeah, she's
compared to him.
towering over him. And then that's probably why they would have to ride trikes, because the center of it would be hard for them to,
true. Oh my
balance.
God. Yeah, the weight. There's probably not a lot of weight there.
So then the movie goes and they show Matthew McConaughey and his girlfriend, Kate Beckinsale or whatever,
Who's
and
painting.
she's an artist. So they're in this trendy Nickelodeon apartment
Nickelodeon.
loft where she's an artist. He's living with her, and
They're actually engaged.
she's painting. She's painting on this wall. He walks up and she's like, "Where are you going?" And he's like, "I can't tell you."
He's like, I have to go out. And she's like, I know that you're cheating on me.
Yeah, he's wearing a full-blown suit, and she's like, "Who are you seeing?" And he's like, "I'm going.
It's a
family
family
thing." And then to prevent him from going, she does something very smart.
There we go.
She drops to her knees and pulls out his penis. And
His penis.
she's going to start.
We don't see it though, ladies. We don't see it.
She's going to start blowing him. And Matthew McConaughey exercises like the craziest. He goes, "I've got to go," and zips back up and leaves.
Yeah.
Which, and I said to Lauren, how long could that have possibly? He had 5 minutes to spare.
He didn't, apparently. He was already late to the event when he showed up.
Yeah, but if you're already late, what's an extra 5 minutes?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I know you would never turn it.
No, I would never turn down a blow. Of course not. And certainly not to be late to somewhere. This is what would happen if it was me. I would accept the blowjob, and then once I came, I would go, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to bed. I'm going to be sleeping now.
Maybe that's why he said no, because he knew that after he came, he wouldn't want to go anyway.
Oh, that's
And he was trying to be smart.
That's why the French, like Peter Dinklage in this movie, refer to an orgasm as les petites morts.
Because you die a little?
The little death. Because it just makes you want to lay there and not do anything. So Stephen, who's played by Matthew McConaughey, goes to he leaves her after turning down a blowjob. And she is, by the way, she's like, this has always worked. You can tell she's like confused.
Yeah, she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she's like, oh, you're leaving? He's like, I gotta go. Zip. And he leaves. And she's just left on her knees, like going, what the fuck?
She gets up.
Is this man? He must be going to fuck someone else.
Yeah, I would think that.
Yeah. So he leaves. He goes to a convention for the, quote, Little People Defense League. Okay?
Yeah, they never really go into what the convention is about.
It's a Little People Defense League. It's like, first of all, that would be maybe one of the best. If Marvel wants my money, I haven't watched any of those Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. Marvel wants my money. Go ahead and make a live action Little People Defense League and have little Batman, or that would be DC. I'm sorry. I'm not. Have a little Spider-Man, you know. Have a little Thor with a little hammer, like a little, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
Just take all of the
little Iron Man in his little suit.
I think that is Marvel.
And then when Iron Man flies past you, instead of being like, shoo, it'll be like, you know, like a little passenger plane. You want the Little People Defense League, take my money. So he goes to the Little People Defense League. He's walking around this convention. He's
seeing everybody he knows. He clearly knows a lot of little people.
He walks in and they're like,
people with dwarfism.
The Lollipop Guild starts popping off. They're going, what? They're going, hey, Steven.
Don't say that.
No,
because who else? Who's there? The one lady who's in Seinfeld. If you guys are Seinfeld fans,
Mickey is there.
Mickey his girlfriend,
and his girlfriend from Seinfeld, and his girlfriend. It plays a large role in this movie.
Yeah,
she's got these little big fake tits.
These little big fake tits.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
These little big fake tits.
Comparatively, they're really small tits.
They're probably like a B.
She's
an A.
She's at the plastic surgeon. She's like, I'm thinking about upgrading to an A cup. And he's like, I don't know. That's getting a bit unethical. We cannot go higher than an A. And she's like, I want the A.
What the fuck?
She's got these little big fake titties, and she's got them on parade.
These little big fake titties.
She's got them on parade. They're walking around. She's got this little cleavage showing. It's made me very uncomfortable. And that's wrong of me.
Why? They're just tits.
Yeah, but you don't want to be criticizing. They already got enough problems. So he goes around, and then you find out his parents are little people. Mm-hmm. And Rolfie is his twin brother. Explain this to me. Okay? Because his mom is tiny.
Have you never seen the show on TLC?
No, what show on TLC?
There's a show on TLC. It's not on anymore. It's called Little People, Big World. And it was two parents with dwarfism. And they had one kid with dwarfism who was a twin. And he had a normal sized brother and a normal sized sister who was not related. I mean, obviously they were related, but they weren't twins.
Okay.
So it is possible.
I'm sorry. I'm emailing the producers at TLC right now. I've got a new idea for them. Take a couple of little people. Take them to Shady Maple Smorgasbord. Little people.
No, Little People, big
buffet.
Oh,
Little People, big buffet.
Big buffet.
Yes. So I'm sorry. I'm just typing up this email. I've got the TLC.
See, but in the TLC place, it was okay to say Little People, Big World.
Right. I guess you're right. I guess
that's what
Little
I'm
People.
saying. But this was okay. This was popular, like probably before we even met.
Okay, so
this is old.
He goes around. Everybody knows him. He parties with him and then meets Rolf outside, who's his brother.
He's there late, actually. The convention is over by the time they show up.
Yeah, So by the way, they have a wide shot of these little people dancing at this convention. And then there's Matthew McConaughey, a giant in a sea of little people. and he's dancing.
There's some normal people there. There's a African American gentleman. What's his name?
I don't know. He was a caterer. I'm talking about guests at the party.
No, he wasn't, because I'm not even going to ruin it. The
Jerry Lewis Jr.
Thank you.
Who I don't know if it was a real person. They
Jerry Lewis Jr. was there. He's a normal sized man.
Jerry Lewis Jr. is a real person. He's a singer, and he was the son of he died.
What?
Jerry Lewis Jr. died in 1973. He was the son of the famous singer Jerry. And he was white. So they made this person up. And it was played by a dude that I've seen in a million different things. I don't know who he is. He looks like Chuck Berry. And Chuck Berry, as we all know, sexual deviant, like to pee and fart on hookers. That's his big thing.
I've had to watch the videos several times.
Every time we have a family gathering, I make people.
Yeah. Have you seen Chuck Berry?
The fart is not he's farting on these hookers, whatever. But my favorite piece of the Chuck Berry film, and this is absolute cinema. No movie we could ever watch will ever make me laugh as hard as this one piece of the Chuck Berry sex tape. And this is what happened. He got raided. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the agents raided his house for drugs. They found all these VHS tapes.
They're like, what the fuck is this?
So it's him standing in a tub. He's farting on this girl for some reason. But then
fart in her mouth.
He does. That's gross. But then he stands up in the hot tub, or it looks like a jacuzzi tub in his nice mansion. And he starts pissing all over her face. And he's like, do you like that piss? And she's getting hit with it, and she's like backing away. She's like, oh, yeah, sure, I love it. And then he leans over when he's done pissing, and he goes, do you want a kiss? And she says, yes, daddy. And Chuck Berry says the funniest line I've ever heard in my entire life. He goes, I can't kiss you. You smell like piss.
After he just pissed
on her. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So they talk, they part ways. Matthew McConaughey goes home. He slides into bed with his sleeping girlfriend, and she wants to have an existential talk.
Yeah, she's like, where the fuck were you? Who were you with? I know you're playing with me right now. And he's like, nah, baby, nah, don't worry about it. I'm so tired. It's not a big deal. And then she drops a bomb on him.
She goes, I'm pregnant.
And he goes, what?
Oh, he's pissed.
He goes, we use protection. And what did she say?
He goes, we use protection. And she goes, yeah, except for the 2 to 3 times a week you wake me up in the middle of the night. So the gall of Matthew McConaughey to be like, we were so careful, and 2 to 3 times a week
you're going in raw, and also like leaving it in, I'm assuming
raw in the middle of the night. That's dubious work. I don't like that, because you want to get your sleep. Who wakes up for the middle of the night? As a matter of fact,
maybe he's coming home no.
Lauren and I would sometimes, when we first started dating, set alarms. We'd be like, everybody will be asleep. We'll wake up in the middle of the night and have sex. And then that alarm would go off at 3 a.m. and we'd both look at each other and be like, I'm turning that alarm off.
Dude, honestly, sometimes I'd forget what it even was for. I'd be like, why is there an alarm set? And Caleb would be like, I don't know. I'm turning it off.
Yeah.
Also, side note, yesterday morning, Caleb's alarm went off and he goes, Alexa, stop.
I was asleep.
And it was his phone.
Yeah, okay. So he goes home. She says she's pregnant, and he gets those crazy Matthew McConaughey eyes. He starts staring,
oh my God,
staring into the distance like he's driving a Lincoln in a commercial.
Y'all know what those eyes are. In every film that Matthew McConaughey is in, he gets an intense stare moment. They must write it into every script. Maybe he asks for it. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
The agent's like, yeah, we've looked over the script and we've decided where the stare would go.
Yeah, this is where his iconic stare needs to go.
So he starts looking wistfully into the distance. And
scary eyes.
She's like, I thought you'd be happy.
I thought you wanted kids. He's like, yeah, in a couple years, not like now.
And he's like, this is a huge step. I don't like, and he's putting it on her. He's like, people talk about this before they get pregnant. He's like,
this is just decided. And then she's like, well, honestly, I mean, if you're against abortions, you're wrong. But anyway, she could have gotten an abortion if it was really that big of a deal. But like clearly she wanted to keep it.
I don't think abortions are wrong. I mean, I do think abortions are wrong. I think you should let a child live.
I know you fucking lying.
I do.
I know you fucking lying.
I don't believe in abortions.
That's funny. He's lying.
No, I'm not.
Yes, he is.
No, I'm not.
Yes, he is.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
so I'm not. And the craziest thing is he's like, people talk about this before it happens. Like, how could we just do this? And it's like, you've been fucking her raw.
Yeah,
what are you
what?
talking about? And
Also, she's like, we've had a million talks about this. Like, we're getting married. Like, what do you mean?
I love that he puts it back on her. That's such a classic
move.
It's awesome that he just, and then he gets up and leaves.
No, he does. He leaves and she doesn't even try to talk to him or like run after him. She just lets him go, which, whatever.
Well, he's clearly going through something that's not good. He's worrying about, come to find out, he's worried that because he has a twin brother and parents who are dwarves, that the kid will be a dwarf.
Right. And this lady doesn't know anything about that. So he can't, I guess, tell her now. I don't know.
So after the convention, Rolf, Gary Oldman, Maurice, the fucking Dinklage, little Dickie Dinklage, and Lucy, the Sarah J lookalike, end up at a seedy motel. Now, Rolf really, Gary Oldman just wants to go to sleep.
Yeah, he's pretty tired.
But Peter Dinklage and this full-grown woman are fooling around loudly, and he's like, if you're going to fuck her, keep it down.
And he is going to fuck her.
Absolutely. So Gary Oldman's like, I'm going to go take a shower. So he's like, you guys fuck real quick. I'm going to go take a shower. He's gone for literally 20 seconds. Like, but then you think there's not a lot to wash.
Yeah.
It's way less surface area.
Yeah, but clearly he has some sort of medical condition. Like you'd think that it would take him a little bit to get in and out. Well, unless it's a walk-in shower.
I think it's just a matter of volume. You know, it's not a lot of surface.
He didn't wash his hair too.
Not a lot of surface area. And I would also like to point out, you're lower, the water's more spread out. You can probably...
Wow, you're so right.
I don't want to get into, obviously, people born with dwarfism.
Get closer to the head, and it's like a smaller stream.
It's a smaller stream. People with dwarfism, they're obviously born to face a number of challenges, and it sucks. And our hearts go out to them. But can you imagine if every shower was a rainfall shower?
That's so true. I never thought about
this is where my mind goes. I'm going, oh, he's got a rainfall shower in this motel.
They can't go to buffets. They can't take showers.
Mm-hmm. So they try to have sex, but then Peter Dinklage is suffering ulcers.
He's got a lot of medical conditions because, like I said, they really portray dwarfism in this movie as being like bad. Like I don't think it's that bad.
Well, don't say that. I think it is that bad.
I mean, I'm not a dwarf, but I'm just saying like
they're hurting. Their bodies
because their bodies are not in.
They're like, yeah, they're not doing well. It sucks, quite frankly.
This movie is really weird because you think, are they against little people or are they for it? Is this a movie that is supposed to portray them in a good light or a bad light?
So
you don't know.
He comes out of the shower and Peter Dinklage and this girl are about to fuck, like he's about to slip it in. And then all of a sudden he grabs like where his appendix would be. And he's like, oh, I'm hurting. And then he's like, bathroom. And he runs into the bathroom and starts vomiting. And Sarah J and Rolf are looking at each other.
And he's trying to call an ambulance. And he's like, no, doctor.
No, doctor. Do not give me doctor.
Rolf leaves. Rolf's like, I'm not about to watch you die.
Yeah, he's like, these are typical little people problems. And because Rolf sometimes has a real Southern twang and sometimes he doesn't. It's almost like halfway through filming the movie, they were like, hey, if you guys are brothers, Matthew McConaughey is talking like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, like you need to talk. Well, he's kind of got a Southern accent.
No, I know. But I'm saying in some of the scenes, Rolf has no accent. And then in some of them, he's like a Southern lawyer. He's like, my client is innocent. It's like I
do declare.
Are you a God-fearing man? It's fucking ridiculous. So he leaves. He's like, I can't sit here and watch you degrade yourself like this. So he leaves. He goes to an old girlfriend's house, which is Little Big Titties.
No.
What?
Not Little Big Titties.
Oh, no, it's a different
lady.
I'm getting my little people mixed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a whole different lady. It's just another blonde lady.
He goes to, so he shows up at her house. She's dressed in the world's tiniest negligee.
Yes.
And that's got to be, this is another place my mind went during this. It's got to be hard to find small lingerie because most people probably assume that's for a kid. This person's a pervert buying it. You know what I mean?
No. They literally make smaller sizes before they make bigger sizes.
Yeah, but like this is comic, like very small. Like you're ordering sexy lingerie for a person who's 3'2".
Yeah, I know. I think you just wear size small.
Okay.
They make small clothes in women. You just aren't aware because I wear large clothes.
But it's not a dress on her. It's not long. Okay, Lauren.
Don't you understand understand that when clothes are smaller, everything is smaller?
All right, listen, guys. Lauren's got it all figured out. She knows the ins and outs of dwarf clothing.
I know
got
the
it all.
ins and
She's
outs
got all
of
the
clothing.
answers.
If it's a smaller person and they need a smaller size, the height doesn't matter. It's the proportions. Most of them have like a normal sized torso.
So he's there. He's trying to fuck this girl, his ex-girlfriend. And then someone starts banging on the door and she hides him in the bedroom. And this guy who's like a normal size.
I thought he was a postman, but he was actually a security
guard. The postman shows up.
Yeah.
I got a small package for you. So he walks in, he's arguing with her, and Rolf is watching from the French doors in her bedroom. And then he comes in and he's like,
well, he asks the lady for money and she's like, I needed to pay my phone bill. And he's like, well, I need bus fare. And she's like, okay, I guess I won't pay my phone bill now. And she walks into the room where the other guy is and she's like, give me some money. Give me some money.
Yeah, that was
And then the guy
weird.
follows in behind and he's like, who the fuck is this?
Why do you have who is this fucking man in your bedroom? And then she gets indignant. She's like, I'm going to fuck him. And then he starts beating the shit.
Yeah, they fight. Like, why would she say that? I didn't understand. I don't know if she was trying to make everybody jealous. I don't know what was happening there.
I think she was a conniving little person.
We find out later that she
was spinning a web of deceit, a little web of deceit. It's like a small web, like in your bathroom in like a corner, there will be like a little tiny web with a little tiny spider in it.
Yeah, we let them live.
She's got a little tiny web of deceit. So the security guard beats the shit out of Rolf and he leaves and he goes to his brother's house, Matthew McConaughey's house.
But he has just left on a week-long trip because Matthew McConaughey's job is a trainer for firefighters.
He's a fire academy trainer, which is, I didn't even know that was a thing. But it makes sense. They got to be trained somehow, right? But he's running that motherfucker like a drill sergeant.
He's like really intense.
Yeah, so let's backtrack for a second. He goes to his brother's house and he meets Carol, the pregnant lady, Matthew McConaughey's
Never
girlfriend.
met before.
And she has for some reason like a garage door to get into her place.
Yeah, that's her front door.
Is a garage door, so she lifts it up and she just sees Gary Oldman on his knees.
And she's like, "What?"
She's like, "How can I help you?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, no big deal. I'm Matthew McConaughey's brother." And then the wheels in her head start spinning. She makes it all
like,
about her. This man's clearly been fucking beaten. He's bleeding. He's got bruises all over him. And she's like, let me ask you a question. I'm pregnant.
No, she doesn't say that. She invites him in first.
Yeah.
And then she does clean him up. She's like, you're clearly beaten. Like, let me take care of you.
She uses a series of small Kleenexes and cleans him up.
And then she says, can I ask you if you're a little well, then she finds out that they're twins, which she's like, what the hell?
And here's something, the casting, number one, it was a big deal that Gary Oldman was cast as a dwarf in this movie. People were outraged.
Messed up.
But then they try to play it off like Matthew McConaughey and him are twins. Matthew McConaughey is a svelte man in his 30s. Gary Oldman is like 55 years old in this movie.
He looks so old.
He's old as shit, and they're trying to say that they were born at the same time.
Maybe that was makeup or something.
I don't know, but I don't know why they would. That's an artistic choice then to make him look so much older than his twin brother. But that's not, that's neither here nor there.
I found a Reddit post about this movie, someone who literally watched it 20 hours ago, like around the same time as us, and had almost the same exact reaction.
Yeah, I mean, it was fucking insane. And so she's like, she makes it all about her. She's like, if my baby is born, is it going to be a dwarf? And he's like, yeah, probably.
Good chance.
She doesn't want to hear that.
Well, then he's like, well, we can have you talk to some of our doctors, some of our peers that, might be able to give you some information and lead you in the right direction. She's like, oh my God, yes, I would love that. But then Gary Oldman goes and sits on the couch, motherfucker falls asleep.
Yeah, he
passed the fuck out.
His little legs, his little puppet legs.
He's in the couch.
He's hanging off the edge. He's
sleeping.
Danny DeVito, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He is in the couch.
He's in the couch. And then she leaves because she's like,
before she leaves, the camera flashes and they show Maurice and the hooker and Sarah J waking up in the hotel. And this scene was so confusing because they're banging on the door. They're like, checkout time is noon and it's 3 p.m.
Right.
And
we need to clean the room. We need to flip the room.
They're like, go the fuck away. And then the manager comes. Peter Dinklage goes and pulls out
a gun.
a tiny gun.
Wow.
He's got a little tiny gun. I mean, like a 007 little PPK.
Like one of the guns that they put like in their shoe because that's the only place it'll fit.
He's got like a little parrot shooter, like a little, like a pea shooter. He's got like the tiniest Civil War gun, and he pulls out a gun and he's about to shoot.
And she's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's about to shoot the manager of the hotel. And then Sarah J goes out and beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, she's like, you called me a hooker last night. Because when they were checking in, he did refer to her as a hooker, and she wasn't. She wasn't getting paid. She was just there for a good time. And she beats the shit out of him. And like, that's the end of it. I don't really know.
She comes back into the room and he's like, you look so beautiful out there beating up that man.
That's a really good accent. It's
Thank
a really
you.
good French accent.
I've been really working on my French. I really appreciate you saying that. A lot of times when I'm driving alone, I'll just be
doing French.
I'm doing French. Yeah. I'll be going a croissant. You selfish Americans, you know? Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Selfish Americans with your McDonald's and your big-breasted women. All French women are very small.
Yeah, they don't eat a lot of good stuff.
All French women are like boards. Even
though they have the best pastries and stuff, they're just not
Mickey
getting fat.
Mickey Rourke in Spun. He was looking for a little-assed woman. He needs to go to France because that's where they're all at.
But the problem is he liked them blonde. I don't think there's a lot of blonde people in France. I could be wrong. There's a lot of brunettes over there.
So Carol leaves the apartment. She goes to find Matthew McConaughey at work, where he is leading a group of firefighters in a field. They have a U-shaped fire in the ground, and they're supposed to be shoveling dirt on it. And Matthew McConaughey is like a full-blown drill sergeant.
Yeah.
He's like, what are you doing, Tubby? You gotta fucking put out this fire. People's lives depending on it. No wonder your wife left you. This is fucking ridiculous. You can't even throw dirt on a fire, you fat fuck. And then
he's really mean with it.
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing, fat boy? You got to shovel that stuff. Didn't I tell you to stop eating Cheetos 5 weeks ago? It's fucking... And then one of the female instructors comes over and she's like, what are you doing?
She's like, hey, you need to chill.
She's like, you're being an asshole. And then instead of saying sorry, Matthew McConaughey goes... Matthew McConaughey... Man, I love cock. Matthew McConaughey goes, hey, fat boy. Take 5.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
he says the guy's name. He doesn't call him fat. He does call him fat boy when he's trying to put the fire out, but then...
He just blows a whistle and goes, take 5. And then he turns around and sees Carol there, who's dressed like the kind of person who would be a girl who would be performing in an open mic night in a Starbucks. No. She's dressed like...
She looks like the girls who used to walk around Walmart at 12 a.m., when Walmart was 24 hours, which if you don't remember that, I'm so sorry. But before COVID, Walmart used to be 24 hours and you'd go in there between the hours of, I'd say around 11 p.m. and probably 3 a.m. And you would see...
It sounds like you were one of the girls walking around the Walmart if you were in there looking at them. I kept my ass up out that Walmart.
First of all, if I was at the Walmart that late, it was after work. And so I would be wearing a work uniform or a work shirt.
Okay.
And I certainly wouldn't be wearing whatever she was wearing, which was like checkered pants and a fucking bandana.
So he turns around, he sees her, and he's like, oh no, because she's clearly shaking. She's like upset. And so he just walks her away from the group of firemen. And she's like, met your brother today.
And here's where we're going to say the word.
And he goes,
it's a direct quote.
He puts his hand on his hips and rolls his head. And he's like, well, this is just great. He makes it all about, he's like, oh, great. You went and met my brother. And she's like, he showed up on our doorstep.
He was beaten.
And she goes, when were you going to tell me that your brother is a midget? And he goes, whoa, Carol. They're little people. They got dwarfism.
And she's like, no, and your parents are midgets too. And he's like, I really wish you would stop saying that.
You're going to piss a lot of people off calling them midgets, Carol. They're dwarves.
Yeah.
And she goes, I don't give a fuck about things like that.
Yeah, she really did. She said, like, I don't care about things like that.
Yeah. And so then he holds her for some reason, and because she's crying and she's like worried that she's going to have a dwarf kid, which I honestly, maybe I'm not putting myself in the situation, but like this whole movie felt like people like two parents who were ashamed that they were going to have a dwarf kid.
That's what I'm saying.
The whole movie, they're like, I can't believe we're going through with this.
Matthew McConaughey cannot wrap his head around the fact that this lady wants to have this kid. He can't. He's like, why would you want to bring somebody? It's like, bro, you have a brother with dwarfism. Like, you don't think that his life is worth, like, it's just so weird. It's so weird.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to finish my firefighting academy. I'm going to come pick you up. It's a 2-hour drive down to
She doesn't believe in abortion. She makes it clear.
It's a 2-hour drive down to Tijuana. We're going to go see a man who's going to take care of all this, and we'll try again in a couple years. Try again in a couple years. Yeah, you are going to have to worry about bleeding out in an alley in Tijuana, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. A little sacrifice. Life's about sacrifices and Lincolns, driving Lincolns.
Anyway, she leaves the fire academy and she goes back home where I guess her and Rolfie then leave and go to his uncle's house, right?
He's like, let me take you to some dwarf people who know.
It's his uncle.
Yeah, let me take you to some dwarf people who know you're going to need a support network. So she goes and she asks a bunch of really rude questions. They're at like
But they're very nice about it.
Yeah, they're at like a little table in the uncle's backyard, and it is a little table. It's built for little people, and
it's a normal.
She's sitting on it, and she's got like her knees by her ears because she's perched in this tiny chair.
No,
and she's like asking a bunch of questions. She's like, "Is it worth having this kid?" And the uncle's like, "I'm super happy," and she's like, "Yeah, but isn't it going to be a life of pain and sorrow?" And he's like, being a dwarf doesn't preclude happiness. I'm perfectly happy. And then the daughter, the midget daughter, I mean, oh my God.
She's not even layers, different layers, I think, of dwarfism. Like some people have full on dwarfism. Some people don't. Like there's a lot of representation in this movie of like different types of dwarfism. But she looks at her dad and she goes, "Do you regret having us, Daddy?" And he's like, I think he says
if there's
yes.
one lesson to be taken from this movie is that dwarves are like snowflakes. They're all unique. Nobody's the same. It's not like, because when you grow up, you go, the M word, you think about M words and you go, oh, they're all little people. But you find out in this movie, there's like a ton of different kinds of dwarfism.
Well, I have to tell you about another TLC show that I used to watch called Little Women of, I don't remember the city, but now there's a whole bunch of different ones, and they find women who have dwarfism who are like not well off, but like, I don't know, like friends with each other, and then they follow their lives and they film. And like in that show, you could see it, like not all of the women had the same type of dwarfism. Like one's like a little bit taller.
I would like to see little women of Baltimore. And they're just like fighting over a chicken box, and it's just like one wing.
Or crack.
And they're like, "That's my dinner." Meth. So he takes her there, and then at the end she's like, "I'm so sorry. You guys must think I'm all so rude. Here I am worried about bringing my baby into the world, and I'm acting as if your life isn't worth anything." And they're all
it was rude as fuck. They're like, "Yeah."
They're like,
you could stop that.
Yeah, you just want to cut that out.
Could you not do that?
So then when they're there, she gets invited to a party the next day at a little person's mansion, a normal person's regular home.
No, It is an actual mansion.
Yeah.
It's an actual mansion. But she calls Matthew McConaughey up because he's still at the fire camp.
Yeah, she's like, "Yeah, I met with your uncles today." And he stands up off of a log
pissed.
He's sitting on, and he goes, "Did you?"
He's fucking pissed.
That's great. That's just great.
She tells him about the party. He's like, "Oh," she's like, "You got to come with me." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll just meet you there.
I'll just meet you there, sweetheart. I got to go. My battery's dying. Goodbye. I'll see you tomorrow." And he flips his phone shut.
And she's on the other line like, "What?"
And then he goes, "Ugh." He makes like this horrible grunt and throws his phone into the woods. And then out of nowhere comes the big blonde other fire academy instructor who told him, hey,
that he was being too hard on the other guy.
Yeah. And he just turns around and he goes, "You want to go to a party tomorrow night?" Which,
why? This part pissed me off.
It served no purpose, because you think that your mind goes, oh, he's going to show up with her to make everybody jealous.
Yeah.
But he shows up to this little people mansion party
with two girls, actually. Two girls.
Two girls. He introduces them to everyone, and you never see them again.
Nope.
They're just gone. And
the one girl sees, what's his name?
Jerry Lewis Jr.
And she goes, "Oh my God, is that Jerry Lewis Jr.? I got to go get an autograph." And then she's gone.
They're just gone. And then he shows up with them, and then he leaves without them.
He leaves without them. He just leaves them there.
At the party, though, Rolf is looking for his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He's going through, he's like, I can't find my girlfriend. And he walks into a bedroom and Jerry Lewis Jr. has that girl on her back with her.
They were fucking.
If she was full sized, his legs would have been over her shoulders. But
You mean her legs would have been
her
over
legs
his
would have been
shoulders?
over his shoulders. But because she's a little person, her legs are just like by his nipples. And he's giving
They
her.
were on either side of him.
He's giving her the what for.
But there's people in the room with them, which I don't understand.
That was what was weird. They're in the room, they're having sex, and there are people standing around with like little sausages on plates.
Yeah, they're like eating and drinking, acting like there's two people not fucking right there.
Well, I think dwarf party, there ain't no party like a little person party. Everybody, that's the common phrase. There ain't no party like a little person party. Everybody knows that. So Rolf storms off. He's going to take a cab to leave. And Matthew McConaughey and Rolf get into an argument because Rolf introduced his girlfriend Carol to
all these people, and he was upset. Now Carol's questioning everything. She doesn't know, what her
He's like,
future is gonna look
you are
like.
so fucking full of shit, Rolf. That's what he says.
I don't know, but eventually they invite Rolf back to their house, and they say, "Come on, it's fine. It'll be okay."
We've got a little couch. You'd be fine. We got a little couch for you to sleep on. So he goes back there. They leave because he has a.
I don't really remember what happens after this.
Well, they talk and they go.
She tells Matthew McConaughey that he needs to get therapy because he has.
They're about to fuck.
Yeah.
This whole movie, he's getting blue balled. They're
Yeah.
literally about to have sex. They're making out and whatever. And she goes, I think you need to get therapy to come to terms with your family being dwarfs. And this, again, he gets that 1,000-mile stare. And he's like, you think I need therapy?
You think I need therapy? She's like, yeah, you clearly hate your fucking family.
He goes, he's like,
and you don't want our kid to be a dwarf.
You think I need therapy? She's like, yeah, you do. He goes, you think I need therapy?
And then just stares off into the distance. And she is like, okay, and turns and goes to sleep.
Yep, they just go to sleep. And then the next scene, they take all of their parents.
Yes.
They take all of their parents to the uncle's house for a dinner.
No, I think it's just I think it's at her parent. I think it's at his parents' house. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry.
And they meet each other for the first time.
Pick a little people's house. That's where they went.
Her parents are mortified, but her dad's pretty cool. Because he's drunk. He's like, hey, whatever, man.
Yeah, he's like, I'll get drunk with these circus people.
But the mom is uppity.
The mom's freaked out by them being, the movie plays it up. You think that she's freaked out because they're little people.
Yeah.
And they're finally having, because she's not talking.
She's not talking. She's being really weird. They're being like, Sylvia, what's wrong?
They're like, they're like, what are we going to do for the wedding or whatever? And she's just not speaking.
And then eventually she comes out and she's like, look, we just got to clear the air about something.
And then she can't say it. She's like, she points to her husband.
She's like, Jerry, you say it.
Jerry, you say it. You're better. You're
more political.
Diplomatic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Diplomatic.
You're more diplomatic about these
things. So like
things.
her daughter's literally crying because she thinks that they're about to say something terrible about
the little
her
people.
Fiance's family. And then
he goes, if you guys won't have a civil ceremony.
No, he said Sylvia's father is an Orthodox Jew and he won't come to the wedding unless you have a Jewish wedding or at least a civil ceremony.
And then everybody starts laughing because they all thought it was a little people thing. And Matthew McConaughey's like, let's order up 100 little yarmulkes. We're having a Jewish wedding.
And then they cut to the wedding and it is Jewish.
Yep.
He's wearing a yarmulke.
At the wedding.
She's super pregnant.
At the wedding, bunch of Jewish people, little ceremony. And then off in the distance, Peter Dinklage is having sex with Sarah J. On a blanket.
They clearly weren't invited, but they I guess wanted to see.
Yeah. Just like off in the distance, they're drinking a bottle of wine and they're having sex. In an open field. Yeah. But you could turn around. I know they're little, but you could turn around and be like,
no, one of them's full size.
Yeah. Oh my God. He turned around. He's like, he's going up on her at my wedding. He's going up on her. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
So then they flash forward. This is an abrupt cut.
Yeah.
They're getting married and then
boom, she has a baby.
They're in a delivery room and she's holding the fakest looking. It's just a roll of towels from a hotel.
And fucking Matthew McConaughey, he looks disheveled.
Oh, he
looks like he just pushed the baby out.
Yeah, he hasn't spoken or he hasn't slept for days. His eyes are all red and he's got big bags and his hair's all a mess. And
then the doctor comes in. he's a little
doctor's like,
person.
we're going to run some tests.
He's like,
we're going to have to give her shots every 30 days and monitor her liver function.
yeah, I think it's a boy.
Matthew McConaughey turns around and punches a hole in the wall.
In the hospital wall.
In the hospital. And he's like, how could you two be okay with this? And they're like,
and how could you two be so calm?
How could you two be so calm? My baby's a dwarf.
And then the lady's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she's like, what are you doing?
Buddy? Like, what?
And then the little person doctor who went to little person medical school.
No.
Yes.
Went to a regular medical school.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
He was on a scholarship from the Little People Defense League. He went to a little person's medical school.
No, they don't make those. That's not a thing.
They do. Of course it is. They have to have smaller stethoscopes.
No.
They have to have. Yes.
No.
100%.
No.
Yes. Stop stepping on my bit. Step on my bit one more time. Show's over.
It's a long ass show anyway.
He punches a hole in the wall and then he leaves. He's like, I can't deal with this. He goes out in the hallway with his head in his hands and you think someone's going to come talk to him or something.
No.
But then another hard cut.
Yep.
And it shows Carol with her little roll of towel baby.
Her fake baby.
Showing up to a cabin in the middle of nowhere. And Rolf is outside and the girl, Maurice Peter Dinklage, is drunk with Sarah J. And they're just hanging out. And they're drunk on the porch. And she walks up holding her baby. And she's like, Steven.
Steven is his name.
She's like, Steven and I separated. And Rolf's like, are you going to come in? It's like.
It's weird.
Yeah. No one really reacts to it. And they're sitting on a porch and he's holding the baby. And she's just now living in this cabin in the woods with two dwarves and Sarah J.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that part.
Also, how did he know? Like, how did she know where he was?
I don't know. That's a lot of this movie's not explained, and we're going to get into why that is.
Oh, okay.
I have some background.
Okay.
So we'll finish the episode summary. We'll do a quick little.
Hurry it up.
Oh, don't rush me. Don't step on my bits and don't rush me.
Chicken. You look like a chicken right now.
That's so rude. So Maurice and Lucy get into a fight. Peter Dinklage, she leaves. Rolf is helping. Now it's just Rolf and Carol in the house.
Right.
Because Maurice and Sarah J. just ride off into the distance fighting with each other. Takes his little gun and he fucking pew-pews into the woods. So
he's also having a lot of medical issues. We don't really know.
He's got ulcers. He probably died in the woods.
That's sad.
And he was picked apart by a singular vulture. A vulture had him as an appetizer.
All right. Okay.
He's leaned up against a tree.
They don't ever go back on that. Like, we don't ever find out anything more about that.
No, they just show them storming into the woods, and then he's leaned up against a little tree, and a vulture shows up and goes. He's the vulture equivalent of a cocktail mushroom. I mean, a cocktail meatball at like a
cocktail mushroom.
I don't know, a cocktail meatball at like a party. Like you stick a little toothpick in a meatball and you eat it in one bite, and you're like, oh, that was good. Now I got this toothpick.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, that's what happened. The vulture's like, well, let's see if there's any more of these little fuckers around. I got to have at least 4 or 5 of them to feel satiated. So then Matthew McConaughey shows up at the cabin, and Rolf and the girl are there, and he's like, oh, I see what's going on here. I see what's going on here. And they're like, are you here to see your kid?
Yeah.
He's like, I was. And he goes over to the kid and he's like talking to the kid or whatever. And he's like, all right, boss man, I'm out of here. He says that to the little baby. He's like, all right, boss man, I got to go. And then as he's stepping off the porch, he looks at his brother and he looks at Rolf and he goes, love my son. And Rolf is like, what?
Yeah.
Like, love my son. And then
he just leaves.
They're like, aren't you going to come back? And he's like, no. And so it's implied at the end of this movie, Matthew McConaughey has just
decided to leave his son and his wife.
Abandoned his son and his wife. So he's like, I can't deal with this. He just leaves and he never to come back again.
No.
And then Rolf and Carol are in the house. And then such an abrupt ending. The baby's crying or whatever. They get the baby to sleep. They go out to a fire pit outside of the cabin and they're talking. And she goes, Rolf? And he goes, yeah, what? She goes, you can kiss me if you want to. They start making out. Hard cut credits.
End of the movie.
We both went, that's it? That's the end? Love my son? And that's the...
Matthew McConaughey is a real piece of shit in this fucking movie. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, it's not good. So here's what happened, okay? The director, Matthew Bright, a guy named Matthew Bright, wrote this movie. Little backstory. The movie got made. He wrote the film when he was 18 years old. And a quote about a raucous comedy about little people fucking each other. Okay.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a full blown comedy.
What?
Okay? Yeah. It was just like a comedy about little people having sex with each other, like within their community.
Okay.
Then 30 years later, after it was written, he revisits it as a drama, as like an art film.
Yeah.
Because there's tones of it where you go, they must have kept this from the original as kind of like a little funny
it's kind
spot.
of funny.
And then there's other times where it's like incredibly dark.
Yeah.
This is how this movie gets made. The director's stepfather gives a copy of the script to the guy who created the show Cops, John Langley.
Okay.
You know how to say Langley Productions?
Yeah.
He produced this movie. He financed this movie. The guy who made Cops. Just
Bad boys.
Just reading through a script about midgets. He's like, you know what? I'm going to help you make this. This is good.
You dropped the M word just then.
Little guys, what you going to do? So halfway through the movie, okay, well, this is what happened. The whole movie, this is crazy. So Gary Oldman's portrayal of a dwarf was achieved through Oldman walking on his knees and obviously used fake legs.
Yes.
Kate Beckinsale, who was a huge star at the time,
Yeah.
the lady who plays Matthew McConaughey's love interest, she agreed to star in the film for scale pay, which is, if you're in SAG, it's like the lowest pay you can get. It's like what an extra would make. She agreed to star in the film for scale pay if she would be allowed to wear her lucky hat during filming, which Bright agreed to. The director, okay? On her first day of filming, the producers demanded that Bright tell her to remove her lucky hat, and he refused, as this was the only reason she was in the film for such a low salary.
Right.
Throughout the movie, Bright and the producers would constantly fight about her wearing a lucky hat.
What did the hat look like?
She's
never wearing a hat in this fucking movie.
I know. But hold on. Okay. So they were like, you got to take it off. When they're done, he turned in his director's cut, which is like once he makes his final edit, he turns it into the studio. They fucking fired him. It was 2.5 hours long. There's so much of this movie they've whittled this movie down into a 90-minute thing.
That makes so much
That's for the hard cuts. That's why we never see the students again.
Stories and everything.
This movie was twice the amount of the final product that they've whittled down.
And it was too long still.
He turns it in. They fucking fired him, okay? So they re-edited the film without his involvement. He wanted his name removed. They wouldn't remove it.
Oh.
But that's why the movie doesn't make much sense while there's like little plot trails that go off and just die.
Right, because
they didn't explore any of that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Well, we'll never know what happened to the students that came to the party.
One notable scene of this movie that I do want to just revisit real quick, because this was maybe the weirdest thing that I've ever heard in a movie. When they're about to have sex before she says he needs therapy, they're making out and she stops him and she goes, "Have you ever been involved with a little person sexually?"
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, not
oh,
really.
yeah. He goes, maybe when we were kids playing doctors.
Maybe when we were kids, we'd all sit in a circle and play doctor and not touch one of them or something like that. And she's like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, we'd all sit in a circle." And she goes, "It's a little person circle jerk?"
No, she was like, well, I didn't mean little person circle jerks or anything like that. She was talking about sex.
Yeah, but she doesn't say. See, you keep interrupting me to say shit that didn't happen. She didn't say I'm not talking about little people circle jerks. She goes, "Oh, little people circle jerks. I would have loved to have seen that." And then they go, "Yeah." So then they start making out again, and she's speaking about how she would have liked to have seen him touching and rubbing on. And he says he was 10 or 11 years old, and she goes, "I would have loved to have seen that." And they go back to making out. Can you imagine?
No.
That part didn't make any sense to me. The whole movie, I hope we've been very tasteful about our depiction of them at Chinese buffets. So he obviously got fired or whatever. Peter Dinklage has gone on record and said the original director's cut was gorgeous, and the people who fired Bright ruined this movie. So originally... I think all of those loose ends were kind of tied together.
And it made a little bit more sense, probably.
Yes, exactly. Peter Dinklage and Matthew McConaughey were born in 1969, but were 5 months apart from each other. And he plays his uncle. Well, and then Gary Oldman is like 11 years older than Matthew McConaughey. And he plays his,
brother.
And that's Tiptoes. It was a weird movie. And I'd like to get my hand on the director's cut, but I don't know how to.
I don't think
I'd
it's possible.
I would really like to see the full version because, you know. All right, guys, that's been a little Saturday morning wake and bake with Tiptoes, the weed cap. We hope you enjoyed it. We absolutely recommend you go watch this movie immediately. If you have plans today, or you had plans today, no, you don't. It's on Amazon Prime. Go ahead and watch it. Seriously, watch it and let us know what you think about it. Shoot us a message, comment on the post, and
let us know.
Let us know. We hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Lauren, say goodbye to the folks at home.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. We love ya.
Trickling tech deck, wet fingers, sex with singers, totally jet set the zinger.
Pesky clinger next to linger in lingerie made by Ann Taylor. Handstand a standard Camaro with Santana.
Banana peel slipping, I feel women in menopause.
Handle these chickens, I'm Glock clicking with cheddar balls.
Trampoline dick and I'm real sick and I'm better off.
Kennedy tripping, I wanna become a senator.
Off stance in transit, titties out, booties up. Trying to find a way to see that everybody poops enough.
Who the fuck been moving up on Julia with Rufio? And I will take it to all of you with bayonets and Uzi guns. What?
Something was touching me, hoping someone that wanna suck me under the fucking sea. What?
Sucking it fucking D. Do you wanna do it? She said, bumblebee.
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 Rolling like a tumbleweed.
Tommy B.
Tumbling.
I think that I'm hungry.
Grilled cheese.
Honey B.
Tell your mama what it be.
I just wanna take this time to say what's up to Scummy T.
Suffering.
Succotash.
Kick you in a fucking ass.
Buffering.
Suck a dick. Terrible connection.
Dial up.
Pile on.
Entering the fire zone.
Call me on a xylophone.
Put a brand new style on.
Pimp it out.